How you doing, everyone? This is Matthias Atva from Direct Dreadnought, your Dreadnought PS4 replay guy. This video is going to be a quick continuation of the single-player campaign video I made yesterday. That was a video where I went through a blueprint for a concept of PvE single-player campaign for Dreadnought to introduce lower players to higher-end gameplay and to provide higher-end players a means of getting credits and to further explore the lore of the game. I got a lot of these ideas and also assisted making my lore videos with the great, absolutely beautiful concept art for Dreadnought. If you'd like to check out this concept art, you can go to the Dreadnought official site over here under Media, and then scroll down or click on the concept art section. There's, I believe, 1 to 2 dozen of these pictures, and they are absolutely gorgeous. A lot of work truly went into this game, and a lot of people don't know about this concept art or a lot of the core lore or history of Dreadnought. So if you'd like to check it out, go ahead. It's well worth your time. The first thing I want to mention in this is that we have 2 Havoc maps. Here we have the first Havoc map. We're all familiar with that. If you haven't played Havoc in a while, there is a second Havoc map. I think this one is a prime candidate for the first new multiplayer map that we could play on. It's a complete map. It's pretty big. It's got room for long-range engagements on top, but it also has these trenches going through the map. Plenty of places to hide, plenty of places for close-range engagements. I really love the second Havoc map. Everyone that I know that has played on the second Havoc map appreciates it too, and everyone I've talked to says this really should be the first step in making a new PvP playable map for us. But each of the campaign segments that I made a blueprint for, there's 4 of them, have a lore-backed concept art new playable map, in addition to the already well-designed and presently in-game multiplayer maps we have to flesh out each campaign segment. The first one here for the Atlantis campaign is based on this great little terrific transhuman-looking white ring. And I took this and gave it Uranus colors and made a little dead shipyard out of it. It would probably be based on Rings of Saturn, where you would replace the central tube with this structure, and you can see the structure looks either incomplete or pretty beat up. So you'd take chunks of this structure and also these little platforms off on the side here, and that would be the core basis of the map. And instead of the ice asteroids that are present in Rings of Saturn, you would have dreadnoughts and transhuman ships that are damaged and faded and littering the background, and you can use that not to break up line of sight, but to absorb missile and shot impacts, where the center structure would break up line of sight and enable players to ball up or hide, while on the outskirts of the map you'd lead to a lot of corvette or destroyer engagements. I think this would be a great map for the Atlantis system. It would be the only map we would have for the Atlantis system so far, and in the campaign it would be great to fight over, and in multiplayer mode it would be a great reminder of the Great Solar War and would be a great addition to the Dreadnought game as far as lore, and also having something pleasing to the eye to fight over. Moving on next, for my next multiplayer map concept, that would be in the proposed blueprint campaign mode for the second campaign, which would be the Conquest of New Singapore, which is taken off one of the hero ships that defended New Singapore. I believe it's the Leviathan, on behalf of Enyo against Federal Earth Forces. Federal Earth Forces failed and hired Sinley Bay to complete the conquest, which is what happened. New Singapore is now renowned as a shady spaceport, and it's the capital for the colonies for Federal Earth. Here's the original picture. You're seeing it now for New Singapore. And my proposal would be something opposite of Kappa base, where in the center it's pretty clear, and you would have a little devastation in the population center. You'd have crashed starships that are flaming and smoking. And on the outskirts, you would have tall buildings that you could either hide behind or run away from the central engagement to recover. And in the background, you'd have a nice urban sprawl as far as the eye could see. It's the opposite of Kappa base, where Kappa base you have room to maneuver on the outskirts and you have the central water treatment plant to fight over. This way you'd have a big central area to fight over, and then you'd have a lot of cover in the outskirts for smaller engagements. I thought it'd be very visually appealing. Very similar to Kappa base, but a different layout. We also have this concept art for the Zaratan, and in the Zaratan you see in the background a urban cityscape and crashed ships, and I thought this helped with the concept for New Singapore, what it would be like having crashed ships in this civilian area while ships are battling above. I also really like this concept art for one of the Aquila Vector tactical hero ships. You see there's a lot of smoke in the background, and in the far background there's an urban sprawl, and I think this image really holds a lot of the inspiration and tone and feel I would want for the New Singapore map. Very smoky, battle damaged, with a cityscape in the background. I think it's really great. What a beautiful picture as well. The next one we have would be a concept for the core worlds. You'd have one of the moons of the core worlds would have shipyards, and I got this idea from this asteroid mining dock. Maybe it wouldn't be built into an asteroid or a moon, but Phobos as a moon around Mars it's an uneven moon. It's not perfectly spherical or symmetrical. And you could have a shipyard built into an asteroid orbiting Mars, or maybe into Phobos itself. And if you have fighting on the outskirts or the mouth of the shipyard, and you go into the shipyard, and you can see in the next couple of concept art pictures, you have a Jutland here and a Trafalgar, I believe, and you would have sparking as the ships are being built, and you could fight around these dock areas where Jupiter Arms or another mega corporation is building their ships. Just interesting background art while you're fighting, and you would have a cylinder or a flat platform that you're fighting, similar to maybe Rings of Saturn or Havoc 2. And then in the background you would have other shipyard-esque objects, docks or transport ships, and you could fight amongst them. Just a quick idea for a shipyard that you're fighting over. And the last piece of concept map I was thinking was a new colony in Saturn. I believe we only have 2 maps in Saturn: Ixion, which is over Titan, and Rings of Saturn, which is an asteroid field in one of the rings, where you have a Aquatech ice mining facility. And in this one we have a mining facility on a undisclosed planet, and you see it's got an atmosphere, and it's got a very rocky looking inhospitable background with a little bit of molten metal off to the side where they're manufacturing. We also have this facility at nighttime where the Morning Star is docked. I think that would be a great addition to a semi-terraformed inhospitable atmosphere where you have lights and a big platform where ships could dock. And then this last concept art picture of a docked command ship or cargo transport hauler with civilian buildings in the background and some small vehicles. It's similar to Callisto for Red Sands, but it's got a different atmosphere. You have a blue sky and a nice mountain range. So you'd combine these 3 concept art pictures and make a semi-terraformed colony world to fight over, or to gain supplies or escort a command ship. So those were the concepts I had. We had the bringing Havoc maps into PvP mode. We had the Atlantis Graveyard as a relic from the Great Solar War and the only map in the Neptune system. We had another for the Moon of Europa. We had a colony to fight over, very heavily urban setting, which would be New Singapore. We have one of the mega corporation shipyards or space docks in orbit. And then lastly, we have a new colony in the Saturn system. That would put it at 5 to 6 new maps we could fight over. And I think these are solid concepts and would use a lot of the lore and concept art and bring it out into new maps to break up the monotony of gameplay. And many of these concept new maps are based on existing maps, such as Rings or Kappa base, so maybe there wouldn't be so much front and back end development for them. Well, just wanted to show you guys these concept ideas. This is a short video today. We'll be working on some special videos for having over 100 subscribers, and of course the February update video, and of course more replays for your enjoyment. Well, that's it from me for now, and I'll see you soon in Sinley Bay.